Life. What's the point? Money? Success? Power? This was a question that plagued me when I was teaching my undergrad class. That age is such a wonderful time. Idealistic, unstoppable, career-driven. It was a Tuesday when all of that changed. You wore a pale grey knit hat. The rain splashed your face outside that train station. I knew when you winked at me, my life had changed forever. With one word from you, I would drop everything I'd spent my whole life working for. And did I? I sure as hell did. Life. What's the point?
I have been in love in my lifetime. Oh, he was walking towards me at where we worked, and I knew he was for me. His big brown eyes looked at me, and he kept walking by, and he went in the office, and he asked the girl in the office, "Who's that girl out there with the big blue eyes?" "That's Judy. You don't want to go out with her." And he said, "Why?" "Because she always got a new boyfriend in the summer." But this is where we worked, in the laundromat. The next day, he called me. He got my number and he called me. He said to me, "Would you like to go for a ride up the White Mountains?" And I said, "Sure." Well, he said, "All right, I'll pick you up Sunday at 12 o'clock. I said, "Okay." I waited and I waited and I waited, and he never came. So I called him, and he said, "Oh, I'm sorry." He said, "I had to take my mother." I said, "Listen, I am not that type of a person. You make plans with me, we go out. If you don't want to, just call me and tell me you can't make it." And that was it. He said, "Next Sunday, I'll come and get you." So he come and get me, and we went out to the White Mountains. And on the way back, he said, "I'm going to teach you how to drive," because I didn't know how to drive. Okay, so I got on his driver's side. Okay, we had the top down because he had a red convertible. We had the top down, and he said, "Okay, you go easy," and we goes down this hill. Boy, was it scary. He said, "Okay, pull over," and then we started dating. And I met him in June, got engaged in July. Okay, we went to Two Lights and the beach. And what he did, he said, "Close your eyes." Okay, and I closed my eyes. All I was hoping he'd ask me to go steady. So I closed my eyes. He says, "Okay, open your eyes." I opened my eyes, and what he did was take the sand, push it up, put my diamond in the box, open it up, put it on top of the sand, and said, "Would you marry me?" And I said yes. And that's how he asked me to marry him. I wasn't scared because I knew I loved him. I was excited, and I was an hour late for my wedding. And a train came, and we stopped for the train. We were late because of the train. And in the church, Eddie was telling me, the altar boys kept saying, "She's not coming, and she's not coming." They kept saying. Eddie said, "She'll be here." And then I finally got there. It was 11 o'clock. And I walks in, and Eddie looks at the altar boys and said, "I told you she'd be here." And that's how we did it. I took it very, very hard, because he was a man that you were very proud of, that I was proud of. No matter what, he was always there for me and for our kids. He'd call me all the time, or I'd call him. He was a hard worker. He was everything a woman would want in a man. If we have an argument, we kiss and make up, because we never go to, because you, like we said, you never can tell. You never not wake up the next day. So that's what we did. And he made me very, very happy. Oh, I'm sitting on the couch and I can feel him. But I look over at his picture and it's just, he's looking at me. I can feel him saying, I'll take care of you. Don't you worry about it. I'm watching over you. No matter what, I'll always be there. And he's always in my heart. And I love him. And I will never stop loving him. And he's the only man for me.
I had a girlfriend in high school that I dated for like 4 years. I just remember being really happy with her and felt safe and felt good about myself. And then we broke up because we had to go to different colleges, and I moved out to LA for about 4 years. I still think about her constantly and what I had with her. But then I look back and think maybe I was just looking back at only the good times. Or maybe I wasn't as happy with her because then I would probably still be with her. And those 4 years, I was not happy. I didn't have a girlfriend. I didn't have someone that I could share, really intimate moments with. So it ended up taking me down this place where I would just have meaningless sex all the time. And I thought that was what was going to make me happy, but it didn't. The only thing that made me happy about sex was the fact that I wasn't rejected, the fact that someone accepted me. But then after, I would feel really bad. And funny, I moved back to Philadelphia to do work. And I met someone a week after getting here. And I've been dating this person for a few months now, and I'm so happy. I'm really happy. I spent a few years in LA, and I was really unhappy. I just knew how unhappy I was. It became the unhappiness became a part of who I was. And I used to be this really cheery, upright, positive, fun guy. And when I was in LA, I kind of became this, I transformed into this other person, really sad, neglecting person that I didn't like. I'm sure if I was asked the question, what is the point of life? A few months ago, when I was in LA, I would probably give you a completely different outlook on what I think the point of life is. It would probably be about success, being as successful as you can. I still want to be a great success at what I do. It's just not the only important thing in my life anymore.
Faith, by its very nature, suggests we are transforming ourselves, becoming something more fuller who we are intended to be, and in that transformation, we leave old baggage behind. We leave other ways of existing behind to become our fuller, happier selves. But often that transformation is painful. It's struggle. It often for many people is painful. I'm a Christian, but I don't know. I'm becoming more, Buddhist in terms of thoughts of reincarnation, or even more primal religious traditions where the ancestors continue to be with us in some kind of spiritual, mental way. I would say the point of life is becoming the creature that God intended us to be. As a gay man, I would have thought when I was a teenager that was the hardest thing I'd ever gone through. The world has changed significantly, in those, 40 years. That was a long time ago when the world was different and people didn't understand what being gay was, and there was a myriad of opinions from being normal to being very deviant or mentally ill. So my parents loved me dearly, and I happened to surround myself, partly through the faith community, with people that were positive and helped me find who I was in a healthy manner. Yeah, I was really lucky. I remember a funny story when I was in college. A friend of mine, we were both gay, and we went to talk to the campus priest, and we said, we want to talk to you, we have a problem, we want to talk to you. And we were in his office, and we sat there for 30 minutes, and he finally said, boys, why are you here? And we said, we have this problem, we're gay. And his response was wonderful. He says, well, that's not a problem. He says, are you having problems with your friends accepting you? Are you having problems with relationships? Are you having problems fitting in? Those are problems, So I came out at that cusp of where the world was changing, and there was the possibility of thinking about and understanding being gay as a very positive, wonderful thing. And for me, that happened within the faith community. If you were straight and you were a teenager, there was a process of discovery, of dating, of going to school dances, of going to get ice cream or a movie. I was an adult when I started to do that. I was in college when that opportunity opened up for me. So I was in an adult body doing romantic stuff like an adolescent does, and it was a confusing time. So it wasn't until years later that the romantic notions caught up with the maturity, and I think that's part of the maturity. It's less about some fantasized notion and more about the lived reality of our lives together. We were interested in the same thing. We liked the same thing. We'd go to a movie and we'd laugh at the same things. We would read the same books. So there was a sharedness of life that was bonding in a deeper way than I had ever experienced.
Probably overall the biggest struggle I've ever been through is just trying to find a way to cope and deal and continue to not just exist in my life but live my life with depression. And feels like nothing. If you could ever imagine, that fear that some people have of space and just how it's nothing and it's big and it's a black hole and you just float around in it forever and just exist and nothing would ever touch you. It's kind of like that. But you're still here and you're still expected to do everything as if you were perfectly fine, because there's no marks, there's no visuals saying yeah, this is something I'm going through. It's just kind of when you try to tell people about it and you're just so I'm depressed, and they're just well, just be happy, and you're oh, okay, I'll just be happy. And they don't even understand, and I think it's just that adds to this whole, you're detached from other people, from yourself, from everything. Kind of the reason that you go through the depression and the anxiety, because you're just so stressed out because you just want this one thing so bad, and that's what everybody spends their whole lives chasing after. And it's just, once you get it, you don't really realize what it is. I think you have to kind of lose it before you can appreciate it. So I guess in my opinion, it's kind of just, it's having nothing be okay. It's having everything fall apart on you all the time. And it's just some crazy bullshit all the time. But it's okay. Because you and this person are just standing in this room that's on fire. But you're there together, so it's fine. And you're oh. So it's kind of the worst thing that could ever happen to you. But at the same time, nothing's ever going to make you feel better. They're never going to ask me for more than I can give them. Even because I know I'm not good with this emotional shit and trying to care and be there and oh yeah all the time, but it's just kind of whatever it is that I'm willing to give is enough for them, and they're not going to push it, and they're not. I just think no matter what's going on, if he says it's okay, then it would be okay. And the things he says all the time, it's just okay. I can agree with that. I can understand where that's coming from, and it's just kind of I honestly feel like he and I are like so similar, but at the same time we're like complete opposites. Because he doesn't seem to have like, he's not anxious about anything. He's kind of just half the time, like, I swear, he doesn't even know where he is, but he's super happy to be there. I think that would be a nice change, and I just think that's very complimentary to who I am. It's kind of just like, you know, when you're about to go get like some Dairy Queen and you haven't had ice cream in like 2 weeks and it's been super hot and you're like, yeah, I want some freaking ice cream, and then you finally get it and you're like super excited, you're about to get out of the car and you're just like, yeah. Or it's just like when you realize the last Christmas present on Christmas is for you and you're just like, suck it. This is the best thing ever. And like, it's kind of just like the best thing ever, and it's super exciting. You get all giddy. And like, I guess emotionally, I just want to be strong enough to give away all the emotions that I've been working on, like, having for myself. And I want to be a nice home to somebody.
Petals hot and I'm pushing harder as the sun begins to set farther away. I drive the harder it is to look back. Red sky, my heart begins to race, pulling me farther from this place. I can't run, and I can't breathe, and everything I thought I left follows me no matter where, no matter how. You're here now, and I can't run, and I can't breathe, and everything I thought I left follows me no matter where, no matter how. You're here now, let me go.
My mom is the coolest / strongest person I know. I mean, like, I saw all the shit that she went through, like, with my dad growing up, and then, like, I guess a little bit along the way as she was, like, finding herself, and then she met my stepdad, and literally, like, everything changed. Like, she completely, like, has been, like, an amazing, like, woman. She was always a great mom, but I mean, like, she is, like, a great mom times 1,000. And, like, literally, like, I could never see any two people being more perfect for each other than them. It's just, like, be them and just have that goal, because, like, their love is so, like, unconditional. I mean, like, they fight like normal people, but that comes with any relationship. So, I mean, it does suck, like, especially, like, if, like, in relationships, like, you do have, like, your not every day, but, like, your typical couple fights, you know, like, oh, someone didn't wash the dishes. So it's like, if I'm ever, like, in a bad mood, it does suck that I can't just go to her and, like, just kind of, like, vent. Like, I can always call her, but it's not really the same. Or if I just generally, like, miss my mom, like, she's, you know, 3 hours away, so it's, I don't know. I would rather see her more often than I do. Before I met Steven, like, I was crazy, like, literally just bratty fucking teenager, little asshole, thought I was the shit, tried to fight everything that moved. But I mean, now, obviously, I'm way different. I actually somewhat have my shit together. I have, like, 2 dogs, dope-ass husband who would never, ever lay a hand on me. I mean, I don't know. Way different. I mean, I want a family. Definitely not, like, right this second, but I mean, like, soon. For sure. Like, I want to have, if possible, I want to have a boy and a girl. Like, that would be, like, the ideal future. But I mean, definitely, like, always having dogs. Like, I'm family oriented, even though I don't usually live near my family, so, like, that's why I'm trying to be, like, closer. So I can have, like, that little, like, lifestyle. And, like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't really, like, know, like, the point of my life, but, I mean, I feel like me and him were 100% made for each other. Like, literally, like, that's the other half of me. Like, no one else could deal with me, let alone, like, I'm just a way better person because of him. Like, I would not be who I am today without him.
What if I lost you? What if I found you? Could anything keep me from you? Life, death, time, space. I'll keep finding you in this life and the next. So many faces, but the same love. Can anyone really love like we did? Does everyone love like we do? What if I am nothing? What if you are everything? What if we are everyone? Will we still find each other? Will everyone find each other? Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe it's all that matters. Do you remember how we started? How we ended? I will find you, always.
It's definitely a feeling, like, you know, it's different than anything I've felt before, because before I met my wife, things were just different. You know, I would get very bored and like irritated with like women in general, and then I met her and I was able to be around her and like enjoy her company. Different. I would probably say my first relationship was probably, I don't know, when I was like 13. And when you're young, it's just like puppy love, and, you know, probably more about, you know, you're young, you're going through puberty. It's pretty much all about sex. So, and now I enjoy my wife's company even without sex. So I've seen her change quite a bit. She's becoming more like me, and I become more like her pretty much every day. We're almost like one whole person. So, love from, I don't know, someone like my wife, it's just, it's not there because it has to be, in a sense. I feel like I got a lot more to go unless I keep eating nothing but red meat, and then I might die in like 5 years and she might have the puppies to herself. Who knows? I love her very much and always will, and she makes me proud every day.
I believe God has created each of us to do great things for His kingdom. So the point of life to me is to use everything God gave me for His glory.
Actually, I just took a personality quiz not too long ago that it was really spot on. Actually, it describes me as I can seem oblivious to the world because I'm constantly contemplating the complexity of life. So really, there's no answer because it's so complex. How is one to really know what the meaning of life is when there's so many opportunities out there and so many different people with different interests? Everyone has a different perspective as to what the meaning of life is. I definitely believe in true love, and I do think I found it. Yeah, the person I'm with is my soulmate. I'm almost positive about that. I am positive about that. I mean, we've been through a lot together, and all the things that have happened just kind of proved to me that, yeah, this is the one. I mean, like they say, love's not a walk in the park, and He cheated on me many years ago, and I dumped him for it. Very hard to deal with when you lose somebody, like especially a best friend, somebody you share everything with and know everything about them and everything. I kind of felt betrayed and screwed over because I don't have blood kin here, and his family had become my family here. So when all that happened, I felt like I wasn't only losing my partner, but I was losing my family. And we stayed apart for about 2 years and got back together, and everything was different. He's just very different as far as respect in a relationship, and it's a good different. So that's probably the worst thing that's ever happened in our relationship. So everything turned out to be really great, and honestly, I didn't see it coming. I didn't think we'd be getting back together, but here we are 3 years later.
Pretend you love me. Cameras are rolling. I'll beat you. No, I'll fuck you. I'll fuck you.
You are too close right now.
This is how our relationship.
It's hard sometimes. Nah, you have your fights, you have, moments, and then you have the times when you wake up and you're like, I'm glad I have this person in my life. And then others where you just kind of like, you want to strangle them, but you have to refrain.
You save that for the bedroom.
Who knows how long it will last.
How long he'll last.
That's all I eat is meat.
I love vegetables. I'm gonna live forever. No, really what's gonna happen is I'm gonna die at like 40 and he's gonna live to be 112.
I met at a coffee shop. Me and a bunch of friends would always go down to the coffee shop and just play cards. And she was there, and she would always hang around because her friend owned the coffee shop. Probably like I knew I really, really liked her on like probably our first date.
Oh.
So I was like, when I met her and started talking to her, I just thought she was this like beautiful girl, and I was like, yeah, I want to bang. And then I talked to her for a while just as friends because I met her and she was like 17. She was like, I turned 18 soon. I was like,
I had a boyfriend.
I was like, cool, I'll wait. And then she turned 18 and she broke up with her boyfriend, and we started talking like more as like a relationship way. And we went on the first date, and I was like, wow, I actually really like this girl. So
I'm one of the only girls he can stand for more than a week. Okay, deadass, really funny. So I was dating the boyfriend that I had when I was 17, and I had left home right after I turned 18 for 2 weeks, scared the shit out of my parents. My grandma shut my phone off because I had not come back. And the entire reason why I was upset is because I tried to text him back. And I thought because my ex-boyfriend was crazy as shit and told him to fuck off and not talk to me anymore, that he had blocked my number and he was the only person I cared about talking to. So I kind of figured in that one moment when I was like, why am I like freaking out that this one person isn't going to get my text? Like, that I kind of knew that I was like, you're so sweet. Our actual wedding day, it turned out perfect. Honestly, like, it was stressful as shit the first 8 hours of the day. Our car blew up day before the wedding, actually, and then blew up again the day of the wedding. It took way longer for me to get my hair and nails done than expected. I had no eyebrows. But I mean, at the end of the day, like, none of that mattered at all. The day still turned out perfect. I mean, there was a million issues with the venue and everything too, like, day of. And I mean, honestly, just the fact that we had the main people that we cared about there, and that, you know, like, we were there and actually got married, you know, that was what was really worth it.
I guess when, like, we have kids and they get older, the thing that I would tell them to look for in a partner is just whatever makes them happy. Someone they can laugh with, someone that they can be serious with, someone that will take care of them when they're sick, just whatever makes them happy.
Like, I just hope that, like, literally, like, I would hope that my daughter would find somebody like him. I mean, honestly. And I mean, I don't know. I would just hope that she would just be happy, or, like, if we had a boy, that he would be happy with whoever he was with, too. Like, I would hope he would find a girl or a guy like him. Like, as long as he's happy, I don't care. Like,
you don't know the future. You don't know how long you have, so enjoy every minute of it.
I mean, when it comes to love, like, don't put yourself under too much pressure. Like, I looked out, I found him very early in life. It doesn't always happen that way for most people. I mean, like, you could be, like, 90 and just find the person that fits you. And I mean...
Ew, that'd be gross.
I mean, I would just hope that, like, everybody finds their own Steven, pretty much.
I've never been in love. I've been in what I thought was love, and it was happy and it was good times. It was nothing bad. It's just looking back on those relationships, it wasn't love. I feel like it was probably more infatuation and then, like, wanting to be grown up and be in a relationship, but definitely not love. So, as far as being with someone romantically, no, I've never been in love in that aspect. But I've been in love. I love my friends. I love my family. So that love, yes.
With depression, I think a lot of the times it's just feeling numb. You know, it's not necessarily extreme sadness and crying. It's just this inability to feel enthusiastic about anything. And, you know, and when I'm just constantly convinced that if I don't do something, or if I did do something wrong, that something terrible is going to happen to me, that I'm going to die. I mean, that relationship was so codependent, and not knowing that I could live without this person, that if we were torn apart, just my life would be shattered and ruined, and all of this drama, it was unhealthy, this level of attachment. But it was nice to feel like I had a kindred spirit, but I don't think I was in a good mental headspace. So, like, here's this person, and I want them to feel a certain way about me, and I want to somehow, like, control the way they feel, but I can't do that. So it's just, you know, a lot of control and just accepting and hoping and believing and trusting that this person cares about you. I didn't think that I could go on, and where I wanted to die, and I was not functioning. I spent all of my days crying and screaming, and now, at least mentally, I think I'm one of the most self-aware. I'm a fairly well-balanced person. Like, I worry a lot, but my depression isn't even an issue anymore. I mean,
with long distance, we don't see each other very often, and so those precious moments are just, I get shivers from my head to toe, and I get butterflies. I feel safe, and that's a rare thing. But I am happy. My life isn't super awesome right now. I do actually have things to worry about for once. It's not just me, but I am happy. I find something to smile about every day.
Have I ever been in love? That's a great question. What really constitutes love? I don't know. Probably, maybe high school love. I don't know if that's falling in love, but I like people. I know that. Finding love outside of heteronormativity, I guess it's a bit tougher because of the expectations, you don't really get raised with the expectations of love outside of quote unquote normal. So I guess it's just, I don't know, you kind of have to wing it, and it's you go with your own role. My sexual orientation, it's usually it's really up in the air because it just depends on the person, but right now I consider myself demisexual. Demisexual is when you have to make a connection with the person first before you can find physical or sexual attraction. And there's different ranges. It's kind of along the lines of the asexual world, but it's a little different because you can find that, physical sexuality. Well, with love, I personally think it's the little things, it's, laughing when you make eye contact and you don't even have to say anything to get the other person to laugh, and things like that. Just, it's being able to share joy without having to provoke it, and that's what I think love is.
I guess I'm a person who lives day to day. The past doesn't bother me much, and the future almost none at all, because I'm really, really old. And until the day that I turned 80 this past year, I had never thought of mortality at all. And I think I sort of woke up the day that I was 80 and went, oh my goodness, Sarah, you're ancient, you're going to die. I got over that really fast and sort of, decided that. So every day is sort of like something new to do. Most days is a religion. There's something that's exciting. Just being alive and doing things, meeting people, accomplishing something every day is what life to me is all about. I was married the first time I was married. My husband was having an affair, which I didn't. I knew about it the night before. I got a telephone call from the hospital and the police saying that my daughter had been shot in the leg. She was in the hospital. That my husband and the woman that he was having an affair with had been shot as well. Consequently, that made the 11 o'clock news, the front page of the newspaper the next day. Just the horror of going to the hospital and finding my 9-year-old daughter there with a bullet in her leg was the most difficult thing ever. I think my whole attitude of it's going to be okay. Whatever it is, it's going to be okay. And all the things that have happened to me in my life have sort of been either I'll worry about that tomorrow, or it's going to be okay, Sarah, you can live through this. And living through each one of the things that I've faced have made me a much stronger person. And I'm pretty much a loner, so it's pretty easy to just go and say, hey, I'll be okay. So that was sort of it. So now, not that it wasn't really hard, and not that I didn't suffer a lot from that. I certainly did. And it certainly had an effect on my daughter at age 9. So yeah. She's fine, by the way. She still has a bullet in her leg, but she's fine. So, yeah. I was married after my first husband and I divorced after the shooting. I then married a man, Richard Broughton, who was a photographer. And I kidded him constantly because he had been married once for 6 years, then been in a relationship with someone for 6 years. And so I kept saying to him, Richard, you're going to make it past 6 years with me, right? You know, we're going to make it past that. And he would go, yeah, sure, you know. Well, I came home from a meeting one night, and we were supposed to have gone to D.C. that night. Walked in the house to find Richard dead on the floor. And my first thought was basically, excuse me, but damn you, you didn't make it to 6 years. That's terrible. So that was, you know, and particularly, you know, that was tough. That was really, really hard. So that has been the hardest loss that I've had in my life. Yeah. So I have a daughter and 2 grandchildren. And the point of life to me is trying at some point to try to raise my daughter to be the best person she can be, which she really is. And to serve as an example to my grandchildren of somebody who's passionate in what they do, dedicated, a hard worker. That really is the point of life. Now, I am a spiritual person. I belong to the Unitarian Universalist Church. Am I a deeply religious person? Probably not. But I see the goodness in people, and I think that to me is what's really important.
What does a day look like in our life? We sleep a lot, like till like 12 o'clock. Yeah, sleep. That's it. That's our like whole relationship. We sleep.
Even longer.
That is such a lie. No. Hopefully we have like. She's not going to say anything. Hopefully we have an animal sanctuary, or at least she has a grooming studio. That's what she wants to do. She wants to groom dogs and other animals. But hopefully it's still as fulfilling as it is now. Like that, we want other people to emulate us. Like they should follow us. Like this should be the basis of relationships.
Not everybody should follow their own path.
Oh. The way I see relationships today, they're like just awful. And then there's us.
They're not all awful.
Most of them are, though. So they're just either like about sex, or they're just together because they have a child together or something like that. Or they're not even in love or something.
Life, what's the point? It's you.
Jesus, the trees and us, and grasses lashing foliage, so dense and barbed wire fence, forever tempting us, our rebel hearts, to test the sturdiness of fallen limbs, like bridges suspended over the river bends. darkness, pure gray that spills out wilderness, in fortresses of winding vines and sticks, on floors of spiny pine needles we'd sit and plan our blessed trespassing to the neighbor's land. You were that day my sprinting legs and thumping fearless heart, racing, rushing river through the underbrush of the rusty woods. And should I meet you there in air so thick with mist and with the honeysuckle scent, and weeds a click with wet insects and ferns to dress this rainy mess? Could you teach me then to listen and to not speak? Could you teach me then to once again crumble